Taco. I'm a good. Hi, everybody. My name Atlas,
Uh,
and I like tacos.
oh my
From
god, are
where?
we live?
We are live, and you are
What?
tiny.
Yeah. I would have to
Well,
get up to go fix that.
Let's see what I can
no,
do.
that's
Oh, no,
probably
yeah.
something she can fix on her end.
Not what I wanted.
Okay.
I like the updated buns.
Guys, Bun's got
I
an
l-
update.
the
Little
black bar
forehead
at the bottom.
icon. Oh,
You
oh,
gotta, yeah.
and then check it down. Oh, nope.
We're getting
What?
there. Don't worry
Can you
about it.
adjust this? I was gonna say, can you adjust the size of the character in the program?
Make it smaller.
Within the program.
Width-wise. Yeah. No, the size of the screen itself. In VideoTuber. Yeah, make that screen.
Professionals. Jazz hands.
Welcome to Awooters Does DnD with your host, me, Ben. That's my name now. It's Ben.
Yeah, shrink this down. There you go.
Here with me is other Bens. Ben, also known as Suo. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at twitch.tv/emredfeather, where I play a variety of spoopy games as well as some MMOs. And I also play games with our wonderful DM, gestures above me,
I'm Ben.
Atlas Riven, with Whittle Guy Wednesdays every Wednesday. Now at like 9:30.
Woo!
Because somebody's too busy kicking people.
Yeah, I started doing taekwondo. I started doing sport.
She's killing people. I mean,
Sports.
saving lives.
Namely her own.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would save my life. Step 1, get a life.
I was gonna say you'll need
that is step one,
I want
unfortunately.
to say it's a lot.
Speaking of people who are trying to learn how to save a life, but instead consuming people in a way that makes everyone at the table uncomfortable, Hamhawk, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on my Twitch channel, but only once in a blue moon. If you see that go live button and you actually want to see it, watch it, because you never know when the next stream will be. Otherwise, on the Discord sharing memes. If you want a meme, ask. I can provide.
Twitch.tv/little_foxy.
Yeah, that's where the go live notification happens. That like once in the blue moon one. It's there.
It's also in the Discord.
That's true. You could also join the Discord.
And then you get a notification there.
Give me a second. I'm fixing the Moobot. But while I fix the Moobot, let's go to somebody who knows how to fix the majority of things because they're the best mod NA. Husky, where can people find you on the internet?
If I'm not here fixing stuff on Twitch, I'm usually hiding in the background of Discord trying to fix stuff back there. And on the very extremely rare occasion on a buttery moon, you see me go live as well.
On a buttery moon.
It would be it would be a buttery moon.
Not the buttery moon.
That was good.
Oh no.
I think you broke Atlas. All right, well that was another wonderful episode.
Mace on a not buttery moon. Where can people find you on the internet?
All over the damn all over the dang place. The Tube of You, the Witch of Tea, the TikTok, Graham, Blue Sky,
Whoa.
Bird App,
Whoa.
all of those, Yugoki Wolf,
Crazy.
in all of the places.
Whoa. That's sick. Buns, who is currently working very hard on fixing themselves. Where can people find you on the internet?
Nowhere. I don't
Mm.
exist.
And you can
Ooh.
find me at twitch.tv/miss_fifth.
How you have it now kind of looks like she doesn't have anything on.
I'm not judging Buns.
Yeah, nobody
To be
judges.
fair, that
Denier would at least hope you still have the hood, because he
Yeah.
still cares about his. He still cares about his house.
That is still there. I can't.
We will. I can adjust it better. It's just that I'd have to get up and go over to the computer to like adjust the actual scene,
Yeah.
which I can do after
Yeah.
or on a break or never
Yeah.
because my hands are broken.
Okay. I mean, I'm
Anyway,
okay
Zana,
just
where can
kinda
people
hiding.
find you? Where can people find you on the internet?
Every great once in a while, I stream playing with some beavers, maybe some Baldur's Gate 3, but more often than not, I'm on the Yagoki stream, where you can find
That-
me throwing things at him, physically, literally throwing things at him.
Yay, abuse!
They're soft, squishy things.
Love it. Love it. And hi, my name is Atlas Riven. You can find me at twitch.tv/JMEpeanut.
oh my goodness.
But sometimes you can also find me at twitch.tv/AtlasRiven. You can find me there on Wednesdays being a little guy with the Red Feather. And you can find me other days of the week when I randomly stream because I'm not fixing things or busy. Did it. We don't condone abuse. It's all a joke. Thank you. Previously on Awooters Does D&D, we had quite the trip. We may or may not have touched a door we shouldn't have touched. Hamhawk got a new recipe in his book. Husky is doing his best. And we have just been we've just encountered some gods. One that would love to just take apart and reassemble a metal man. And right before we ended last session, the doors flung wide in the dining hall, and in entered a very beautiful woman in a long flowing dress, a black flowing dress that kind of drapes across her chest down into what looks like a very long flowing train of black. And it kind of flutters in the non-existent breeze as she
Makes me
introduces herself to the party as Persephone. And that is where we'll pick up.
Hi. Hello.
Well, hello. You're small. That's cute.
Yes, I am.
Well, what brings what brings so many of the living here?
We came aside Denier to assist in any way we can.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that he oh, what's the nicest way to put this?
You don't.
He lost some mass.
He shrank.
Denier, already visibly broken from the mixture of the god of blacksmithing and his regular Bahamut beat down, just sighs, face down on table.
He's already suffered enough. I see little need to be boy.
I no intention to cause suffering. I mean, I guess any more than the others have. You hear as the doors that she entered through slowly close, and standing on either side of the double doors, one in front of each side of the door, are two tall and kind of thin figures. One dressed fully in black, the other dressed fully in white. The one dressed fully in black has a white plague doctor's mask and a top hat. And the one dressed fully in white has a black plague doctor's mask with a top hat. And they just shut the door and then stand very stoically.
Hi. Hello. Who are you guys?
Are you
They
the
both
two that we met before?
they both turn their head. You would notice that the eye holes of the masks are empty. There's nothing behind them. And they just slowly, almost mechanically, kind of jittery, turn their head to the side in a look of confusion. And Persephone goes, "Oh, if you've met other people from, they are not them. These are a bit more quiet, of a retainer, if you will. Uh, my husband's, um, my husband's retainers are a bit more rambunctious, as I'm assuming you've, just judging from that question, I apologize."
Yes, I did throw a javelin or two at them.
You know, I would say that that is unwarranted as their children, but clearly they're not. They're little monsters. So, good for you.
And he said that with full eye contact and no breaking.
Full eye contact with the two
Persephone.
men at the door. Okay. She seems unbothered by your eye contact. You actually making eye contact with her, you almost feel a calm sense come over you and a very comforting aura, almost motherly.
A similar
Ham's
feeling
eating
to when
oatmeal.
a similar feeling to when I was in amongst all of the gold leaves, or
Uh, no, not that feeling, but almost
okay,
she just gives off this caring motherly vibe.
okay, fair
Um,
enough.
yeah. You all kind of get the sense that just from her aura and her presence that this is somebody who cares deeply for um anyone that she deems a child of hers, whether they're presently a child of hers or a future child of hers. She sits next to she takes a seat next to, I assume, Buns, because it'd probably be Buns Suo uh sat next to each other, and she just kind of takes the open seat next to Buns, and she sits and she puts an elbow on the table and rests her head in the palm of her hand, and you can see as like a little bit of her very beautiful, almost bluish black hair kind of slides out of place. And she just looks across the table and she goes, "It's not often that I see so many alive spirits before they become my children. You must feel so much joy to be living."
I relatively enjoy it. Yeah. I
Nom,
hope
nom,
to keep
nom,
it that
nom.
way.
I do hope that you do keep it that way.
For
I
at
would
least
prefer that you
now.
live a full life before returning to me.
It's usually the plan.
Ah, well, make sure that when you do pass, you bring a great many stories. I love a good story. I don't get to get out much.
I think I'll have plenty of stories. I did not mean that as dirty as it came out.
For you. Anything.
I mean, it's not
No,
like we don't have stories now.
trying to eat lasagna.
the cat.
I'm
Which
just-
cat was trying to eat lasagna?
Dude.
Duke, you can't eat
Duke?
lasagna.
You're not
I expected
Garfield,
it from the
dude.
other-
We have fucking Garfield in the house.
God damn it. This is what happens when we let Duke just do whatever he wants. Also, my V2
I don't
losing
let him
hit.
do whatever he wants. I'm
My
I'm
V2
not his
losing his
favorite
mind.
person.
Yeah, that's because you don't let him do whatever he wants.
Right, yeah.
Go figure. There we go. Okay, we fixed it.
Is the blacksmith still standing behind Mace, or did they?
She is. She stands next to Bahamut,
Okay.
and they both still are almost in a bow, directed at Persephone.
I'm standing while eating oatmeal with bacon.
Buns is
I literally
actually
had to
tucking
bite my
some of the
tongue.
bacon into a pocket of her robe, which she is totally wearing.
You just have to believe it. Don't trust your eyes.
Persephone kind of gets up and gives a gentle pat on Bun's shoulder, and she goes, "If you wrap it in napkins, your pocket will be less greasy."
Nope, it'll be fine.
Okay.
Prestidigitation. Wizard problem.
I mean,
Need-
prestidigitation is great, but if you don't plan on eating it soon, you're still gonna have bacon grease soaking through your
Everything.
cloak there.
Where did you put it again?
Prestidigitation. Her
In
pocket.
the hood or oh, okay, in the
Yep, in
actual
her pocket.
In the actual
Okay.
pocket of the robe, yeah.
Also, just a fair warning: if you prestidigitation the oil off the bacon while it's still in your pocket before you eat it, that's gonna be some real You're gonna take out a lot of that bacon flavor, but do as you will.
Uh-huh.
And she kind of gets up and she walks over. She kind of gives Ham a little like tap on the shoulder. I do hope, and I mean this in the kindest way possible, that I do not meet you soon.
But it's wonderful.
You wouldn't happen to know where to find some life, would you? Having lost for words, all he can think of now is where to find ingredients for his recipes.
You're looking for life. Well, it's all around you. Unfortunately, I have none to give.
Oh. I've got to find a way to distill it out of the air then.
If I'm understanding my comrade here correctly, he's actually has a recipe in his book that calls for the essence of life and death.
A recipe book that calls for the essence of life and death. That's quite a
Yep.
cookbook.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Where does one come into a contact with such a book?
Suo, when she asks that question, Suo just kind of like does the like looks at the ceiling because she's thinking. Because she's realized she can't remember if she's ever asked that question before.
You
Like,
bring up a
she's
very good point that I don't think any of us have ever asked for.
Suo was like, have we ever asked him? Like,
Buns didn't really think it was our business.
I'm just a cook with a cookbook. Can't recall where I found it. I'm pretty old for a kobold. It's been a while.
Gotcha. Well, good for you. Congratulations on the essence of death you carry with you. At least you're halfway there.
Yep. Thanks. Munches
Uh,
bacon.
you're... I want to say you're welcome, but I fear that I don't. Anyway. And she kind of continues on, and she walks over and she looks at Mace. Whether or not I'll ever see you in my realm is quite the question.
Not you.
What?
This
I would.
absolute look of fear on Krona's face because she knows she's where she's not supposed to be.
Oh jeez. Mace would
You love
meet
cats.
her gaze again. I have a feeling I am going to be some time if mother is ever if mother ever doesn't have a task for me, I suppose that will be the time where you'll see me again.
She kind of reaches out and she like slides the back of her hand warmly across your cold metal cheek. And she looks and she goes, "Ah, yes. I apologize. My sister can be quite the demanding one."
Do
I'd like to say she'll stop asking, but experience tells me different.
do you by chance know where she is?
A question I can't answer. I apologize.
Why not?
Hmm.
Do you not know, or are you not allowed to say?
Secrets among siblings.
Sounds
Oh,
like
you're
not.
not allowed to say. Okay.
Looks over. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She slowly kind of looks past Mace to look at Lidinsky. And she goes from a little bit of a smile to a soft frown. And she walks over and she puts a gentle hand on your chest plate. And she goes, "Stuck where you don't belong." Are you there, Vlad?
Yeah, sorry. Think of a response there.
What do you mean?
She just kind of gently like looks up at the mask, and Vlad, you almost get the feeling that she is looking through. She's looking directly through your armor and directly at you underneath. Someone like you should not be here in the land of the living. You more belong with those of your kind down below. But you're a complicated scenario.
Yes, so it seems, as from all my years on this planet, trying to wonder where I belong.
I wish I had an answer for you. Because if you ask me, in your current state, you belong with me. Yet, I can't take you back because something holds you here.
Hopefully someday I am able to figure out what is holding me back, so I am able to move on.
Well, it seems like you're on a good path. You have a good group of people. I'm sure they'll assist.
whether he sees it or not, Mace will give a solemn nod in response.
Yeah, we'll help him do whatever he needs.
Ah, good. It's not often that people. It's not often that the people that belong to me are greeted with such caring from those above. She kind of moves softly, dress still flowing, as she sits next to Suo, and she looks at Suo and she goes, "You look so much like her. Do you know that?"
Apparently, the red's not the right shade.
She leans in and she gives a little whisper. "You're just slightly off. I promise you'll get there."
Buns just kind of snaps her finger and it goes just a hair darker.
Ooh. Ooh, so much closer.
The best part about this is that at this, like, Suo has never actually been concerned about the hair color.
Right,
It's
it's everyone
just,
else.
it started off because I think someone was trying to make me feel better because they thought that was the issue. And it's just now just devolved. And Suo's just like, whatever. I have accepted this.
Buns is just randomly changing her hair color for an
Right.
hour.
And she's just like, whatever. I'm here now. I have a kaleidoscope hair. Kaleidoscope of red.
Yes.
Persephone kind of holds her hand out and she just looks at you. And it's almost as if it's a gesture that she wants you to put your hand in hers.
She slowly does. Just like,
As you place your hand in Persephone's, there's a moment where you can feel the cold of her skin. It's very cold. And for a moment, it's all you can think about before it's replaced with a soft, gentle warmth. And you look at Persephone, and her eyes they've gone pitch black and empty. And in the back of your mind, you hear a soft whisper of a woman's voice you've never heard before, but you feel like you know so well, as it says, "I miss you, and I hope to see you soon."
Suo outwardly doesn't really say anything, but her eyes kind of start to take that sheen of like that like glassiness.
See, I'm about to cry, but I don't want to cry, but there's tears in my eyes, Sheen.
Yep, 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 yep.
Buns is
As
instantly at her side.
As Persephone moves her hand away, you feel the warmth dissipate back into the cold touch of Persephone. And as her hand slides out of yours and her eyes return to normal, in the palm of your hand is left a folded note.
She's going to take that and probably like just hold it under her hand. Um, and she probably won't actually do anything with it right away.
Persephone kind of reaches out and she also gives a gentle caress to your cheek, and you feel the cold skin, but the loving tenderness of that motherly maternal vibe that she gives off. And she goes,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, she misses you. Soon, though. I have faith." Anyway, it seems we have business. And she stands and she kind of walks back towards the double doors. And then she turns and she looks. And you can see as the gods around you kind of straighten up. And they have a serious look on their face. And she goes, I bear bad news. The spirit has not returned to me. And you can see as all of them look for a moment and become very puzzled. And not a word is exchanged. And Persephone goes, I will gather more information in return.
Wait,
Hopefully, at dinner, we'll have better news.
wait,
Mm, Mace
Wait.
looking back and forth between everyone.
wait. What if it's that cult and they've done something and they have her soul?
Do you mean the soul of the recently departed god of the hunt?
Persephone kind of turns as the two tall, lanky figures push the doors open. And she kind of glances to the side. And you can see a look, almost a look of a mother who's been scorned. And she goes, Oh, fret not. Those who take from me do not keep for long. And she slowly walks out of the doors. And they close behind her.
Buns' ears kind of droop a little bit.
That did not answer my question. And he's just looking around.
It was an indirect answer.
I think the answer to that was yes.
Denier kind of looks over and he goes, Let's not discuss it now. Information. We'll need to gather more information. Hopefully at dinner, we'll.
But-
You can see as he's kind of lost in thought, a mixture of deep concentration and a little twinge of sorrow.
Right.
And
But if it's the cult and they've already killed one god and Persephone goes after them, what if they kill her too?
as those words escape your mouth, you are suddenly surrounded by a loud cacophony of shattering and concrete and rubble as you see as Bahamut behind you has fully just in human form punched a large pillar and it has crumbled next to him and he goes, I don't think that's a statement that you should make freely.
I'm worried about her though. I don't want something bad to happen to her too. I know you guys want to believe that you're like invincible and stuff, but apparently you're not.
Not speaking something just because you're afraid of it happening doesn't prevent it from happening. It's
Yeah.
better to talk about it and prepare and make sure that you're planning accordingly.
You see as he clenches his fist harder and Denier speaks up and he goes, I fear that you've missed the point. It's not that we're not speaking of it to avoid it. I fear that you said something at a bad time. And you can see as tears start to roll down his cheeks and he looks at you and he goes, I understand. I know what you're saying is accurate. But we've just learned that the soul of somebody we love, it's not returned to the right place. And to say your words so brashly right after that realization, it may have just been a smidge too soon.
Yes. Like I said, we don't want something that happened to Persephone too. That's all. I didn't say it to upset anybody.
I know. It's just, I believe everyone needs a moment to process, and Persephone isn't going anywhere. We'll all be here at least until after our dinner conversation.
Okay.
And as much as the brute behind you won't admit it, he's not mad at you either. You've just possibly maybe overwhelmed us a bit. We're not used to this.
Buns holds her hands out
You mean the
cupped
living?
towards Denier in an offer to pull him closer to give him a hug.
He gently puts one hand in yours and he looks up at you. Buns, we have a job that needs to be done before dinner today. Dare I ask you to take up the mantle as one of my disciples and help me do some research?
Buns, with her other hand, points at the symbol on her forehead. I mean, aren't I already?
Yes, but I don't like to boss, I like to ask. So,
We
would
can
you
go look
accompany
at.
me to the library?
Yes! You guys will all be okay, right?
We should be, indeed.
Okay.
I'll come find you if I need you.
Okay.
And of course, you know how to reach me if you need us.
So after you say I'll come find you if I need you, you hear a gruff cough from behind you as Bahamut is suddenly standing directly behind your chair.
Her eyes are just gonna be like, mm, sup?
You know, Kitsune fall under the Beast Kingdom.
Uh-huh.
When's the last time you when's the last time you fought a beast?
Mm.
Depends on if Vlad and Mace count.
See, the answer's taking too long already, and you can kind of feel as he grips the back of your shirt, and
Almost
almost
like he's scruffing me.
comedically in anime style starts dragging you towards the doors, and he goes, "I'm gonna teach you a thing or two about being an animal. Let's go."
Oh, whoa.
Rude. I have no comment.
What you missed and what was cut off from from Misfits Mike there was have fun.
I don't think it's the fun you're thinking as the doors close.
Oh, no.
A wrench is slowly picked up off the table, and she flips it easily back and forth, and she goes, "You wanted me to install some eyeballs, huh?"
More lenses than eyeballs, but I suppose that is accurate.
Right. But to be clear, are we good with me taking your eyes out?
Excuse me, Miss Builder Lady.
Yes, small flesh one.
Please don't break him. I worked hard to fix him.
Oh, don't worry. I don't break things. I fix them.
Okay.
And he turns to look at Buns. I'm sure Mother would not be too pleased if she broke me.
Well, considering I helped make you, I don't think that'll be a problem, but you know.
Oh.
Oh, well, I hope I did okay in fixing him.
Well, you made him a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? You made him a little bit more people than he was before, but I guess it works.
I didn't do that. That was the Feywild.
The tail was not her doing. That is the
She
magic
she
of the
kind
Fey
of
realm.
looks between you two and she goes, I wasn't talking about the tail.
I think I understand.
Anyway, I'm gonna go rip your eyes out. Let's go. And she just kind of starts walking away, and then she stops after a couple steps and she turns and she looks at Vlad and she goes, You too, metal man. You too. And then she keeps walking.
You know what vibes this is giving,
before
by the way?
joining her, Mesa looked to Daenerys. Is she always this gruff?
She's actually being rather gentle with you today.
I had a feeling.
Lucky you.
And then walked off.
All right.
You know what vibes this
Vlad.
is giving me?
What?
So violent.
When
What?
Dorothy and company get to the Emerald City and they're going off and getting spruced up and everything.
I
That's
see
the
it.
vibe. That's
Yep.
the vibe.
Yep. 100%.
Vlad, are you going to follow Mace? And the gruff lady who said you too.
With the Vladinsky will just get up from the table with a shrug. Well, I guess I don't have much else to do. I might as well go along for the adventure, see what happens.
Good luck. Don't let her rip you apart.
Well, I'll try not to.
Oh, you will try.
What if he likes it?
What was that?
What if he likes it?
I don't think I'm prepared to have that conversation.
I don't think Vladinsky'd have a bone to pick with that one.
Oh! Oh!
Fireball centered on Vlad.
Praise the sun as he goes out in the massive fireball.
All right. I'm gonna roll to see where we go first. Since we have split up. Ham, you're the only one that hasn't been dragged away by somebody. What is Ham doing? And by that I mean, tell me what you're doing currently while I roll this dice.
He is eating ham in various states and trying to figure out what Persephone meant.
Gotcha.
He's trying to do the puzzle, but he's not a smart bean. He's a wise bean, but not a smart bean. He's got big Kronk energy.
Gotcha. All right. So let me roll to see who we're going to see first. We are going to see 1, 2,
We're off
3
to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Buns. Denier looks at you and he goes, This way, as he kind of
Okay.
flutters out the double doors that Persephone went through. He leads you down a couple hallways. All of this is finely architectured. The doors are very well kept. And he leads you down a hallway. And as you pass, you notice that one of the doors reads the library, but he continues to walk past it.
Spooky.
What library was that?
That is That is the regular library. We're going to a different one.
Fancy library.
Okay.
He leads you down a couple more doors, and he pushes open one that has a familiar symbol, the same symbol on your forehead. He pushes the door open, and you are met with a familiar smell of old pages in old books. The ceiling in here almost seems infinitely tall, as it's lined from head to toe with books.
It smells good in here.
Agreed. All right. We have a very important job to do. And it might take a minute, but I get to teach you something. Something that normally people don't get to learn until they're in my library, but this is kind of an offset of my library. So, follow me, and he kind of floats towards a large circular table in the center of the room. And all along the table is carved intricately gold runes, and there are like thousands of them carved into this table, all circling in and spiraling almost like a whirlwind kind of symbol into the center. All right. Are you ready to be a little bit spoiled by a library?
Yes.
Perfect. Place the hand on the table.
Buns does. Just with a smack.
We're gonna do. We'll do the fun way first. Why not have a little bit of fun here? Okay. Close your eyes. Focus on the table, and think of any subject.
Thanks for a moment.
What subject is Buns thinking of?
Close it. It's adorable. Her entire face just kind of scrunches up. And she starts thinking about how to repair automatons.
With your eyes closed, as this thought enters your mind, you kind of feel as your forehead gets warm, and it's almost as if the thought flows from your mind down through your head, through your arm, and taps the table itself. And in the second where you feel that thought hit the table, you hear the thud of hundreds of books hit the table. You may open.
Buns opens her eyes.
The table is stacked with probably hundreds and hundreds of books towering over you. And Denier looks and he goes, "Welcome to a fun little trick I invented. I add it to every library. At least every library that I hold dominion over. This is a library table, if you will. Anyone who is a disciple of Denier may simply think of a subject, and the library itself will collect any books on that subject for you."
It's like a bag of holding for books.
Yeah. Now, here's an interesting thing. Close your eyes again. Hold your hand to the table once more. Refine your thought. Take it from a wider category and shrink it down into something more specific.
It's possible she gets more specific than needed. She tries to find a book on how to repair Mace himself, using all the descriptors that she knows for Mace, what he is.
You kind of hear the shuffling of pages as that thought once again hits the table. And then you hear Denier go, interesting. You may open.
Buns opens her eyes.
In the center of a table is a book. And on the top of the book, the very front cover, it almost looks like a children's book. And it's just labeled The Three Guards of Life.
Mm.
What thought brought you here?
How to fix maze. Because I guess I didn't quite do it right. I wanted to find out what I did wrong.
You see as Denier kind of flicks his hand in a come here motion as the book kind of slides across the table to him and then plops open. I mean, strange. I guess this would be maybe the closest thing that my personal library holds to this information. It may not give you the exact answers. This is a children's book. A book written for young members of this castle and this plane particularly. It doesn't list any detailed information, but I mean, it does, I guess, contain mace in a way.
May I borrow it?
He kind of flicks in your direction and the book slides over to you and he goes, "Of course you can. Any
Thank
book
you.
in this library is free for you to browse and read."
Okay.
All right. Now, we need to somehow refine. We somehow need to refine. You can see as he kind of struggles and he keeps pausing and the words struggle to leave his mouth. We need to find any book relating to what happens after a god passes. We're gonna have to search through them and see if we can't figure out anything. You can see as he kind of touches the table lightly, and in an instant, a pile of books begins to appear, and you can just see that they're different stories about gods, fables, anything from fables to fiction to nonfiction to biographies, all pertaining to lives and afterlives of varying religions and gods. We'll start here. This is probably the best place to start. You take that half, and I'll take this half. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Hey,
with that,
Dee,
yes.
if it bothers you too much, I'll do all of it. And she pulls a book down to start looking.
I appreciate it, but doing nothing at all would make me feel worse than not working towards a solution to someone else's problem. And he
Okay.
pulls a book and he starts to read. Let me roll again and see where we go now. All right. Suo,
Yay!
you are not being dragged through the entirety of the castle. You are instead being dragged to the two giant doors in the grand entrance. And with
Fight
ease,
montage. Or
he
training
pushes
montage.
with ease he pushes them open, and you're met with a very good familiar scent of a very alive and healthy forest, and just there's grass and running river, and the sky is blue with soft clouds, and you can hear birds chirping, and it almost reminds you of the nicer, like, spring days in the forest you grew up in. Before you are abruptly thrown aggressively out into what seems to be the center of a field surrounded by trees as the door closes behind him and fades away, and you are just surrounded by forest.
She's gonna get up and just kind of be like, all right, what are we doing?
It's a good question.
Are we going beast mode? Is that what the point is?
He kind of just stares at you as you talk to him and you ask questions. His face doesn't change. And he lets out a little sigh as two large wings flap out from his back, and he pushes them in your direction, and you feel a very intense gust of wind, and it does in fact cause you to tumble and take a few rolls backwards. And he looks at you and he goes, "Try again."
She gets back up.
He tilts his head and he just looks at you, waiting for you to say something.
I just did the reaction, but you can't see it. So it's very okay. This is going to be such a specific thing, and you'll either know exactly what I'm talking about or be absolutely baffled. So she looks at him and just kind of like does this little, it's like half buck, half like, what? Like, what?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Just like the, like your eyes get a little bit wider when you do it, like, do something.
You see as he starts to take slow steps towards you, and as he gets closer, you see that his eyes change from more human and they slowly become more feral and dragon. And you feel a very intense, intimidating aura as he steps about 2 feet away from you. And he looks down at you and he goes, "What?"
I need to know how much taller this man is from me.
How tall is Suo?
Did I ever write that down? That's a
You
good
better have.
question.
I can tell you how
If
thick
not-
Pam is. You better write down your height and weight.
I usually do.
Pam
I
thick,
was like,
by the
if
way.
not my, I don't think anyone was doubting that.
He likes food.
Yeah. Description. Yes, 5'5". I usually try to give all of my characters around my height, just so that way I have like an actual like. Because I don't know what it's like to be 6.5 feet tall.
I have specifically
This,
stopped doing that.
This man towers above you, and if you had to guess, at a minimum, 2.5 feet taller than you currently are.
Atlas, I need you to understand.
So we're dealing with Al Ra dimensions here.
Uh-huh.
I need you to understand, first of all. My
Breathe, Em.
heart, my poor bisexual heart.
This is very much an intimidation thing, by the way, not a.
But it is backfiring. Well, kind of.
He is
I
not
mean-
Oh,
intimidated.
she's being moved, all right.
Like, okay.
Uh-huh.
So it's very much so like I'm about to get my ass whooped, but like Would.
You're gonna enjoy it too.
Very, very much so short girl energy. Okay? Big short girl energy.
Mhm.
Like, I'm gonna get my ass whooped, but I'm gonna make it hurt. So do something. Like, she's just staring back up at him like, what? What are we like? And it's also like partially exasperation because she's just like, you didn't even fucking say anything. Like, what are we doing? Are we fighting? Are we, like, is this a all out brawl? Like, are you gonna teach me something? What are we doing? So she's what? You're just
So
looking at me.
she just what's back at him?
It's just what? Like,
It's
what
are we
we
fighting or are
doing?
we fucking? Look.
Basically, like literally, yes. That. Thank you.
He looks at you and
And
he
I've done
gives
with
a
her.
little grin and he just goes 5 4
Time out. Time out.
Take deep breaths. Deep breaths. Compose yourself.
You haven't even let me finish describing what's about to happen to you. And it's
You don't
not what
have
you
to.
think.
Her brain is filling in the gaps for you.
Yes,
Yes.
is what's happening.
No, it's not.
It's 100% not what she's thinking.
Get suplexed or something. I don't know.
Probably more likely.
I will say, so as he starts to
There you
count
go,
down, you can see as scales kind of start to crawl across the right side of his body, and his right arm elongates, and the claws on the end become closer to an actual dragon's hand.
So if he tries to swipe at me, I will duck.
He is
Duck!
not, he's still not moving.
Right.
And
No,
he-
I'm like the expectation is like he's gonna start doing whatever, and she's like in full like reactionary mode. If he swipes at her with his claws, like she's gonna duck, she'll jump, whatever. Like, but she's not gonna back down. This is not hide and seek. This is not like
you look at him and he continues. 3.
actually very
3?
specifically. Okay.
Sorry, at 3, you are suddenly met with an overwhelming aura and pressure, almost as if the air around you begins to push down on you, and he grins just a little bit. 2.
So I'm gonna try to almost tap into the kitsune and do that back.
Give me a roll, a straight D. Well, let's do give me a, what's your highest like nature based?
Between like nature,
Actually,
animal handling.
if I'm gonna say D20 with a intimidation, because you're trying to essentially intimidate back.
This will go so well for you.
I mean, I have a +2, so it's not awful. That was such a sad roll. It was an 8.
As
It was
you
like
kind
also,
of
by the way, the dice just like the
Oh,
die
that's
just
my
like
gay dice in the other room. I'll be back.
it just dropped. It didn't even actually like get yeeted across. Oh, I just punched my microphone. It didn't actually get yeeted across the map. It just like dropped onto the screen.
as you do that, you can tell that some of that aura of the kitsune starts to emanate. It's not nearly as it's very much not nearly as intimidating, but you see
So
as his smirk grows just a little bit more as he says 2
So I will say that my goal was not necessarily for intimidation. It was more of like, if this pressure is offsetting my balance at all, it would be to reestablish my own like to give myself a pressure vacuum almost.
Got it.
If
So
that
you're
makes
trying to use your kitsune like energy essentially to kind of rebalance yourself.
right.
Okay, that will matter. But not yet. So you
So
have done something that is going to matter, but it does not matter.
right.
yet.
Yeah, because that's why like it was definitely not necessarily to intimidate him, because like to be honest,
that
that's
ain't
not
happening.
well, I wasn't.
That ain't
Yeah,
happening.
like let's be real. She is 2 feet shorter than he is. She's not intimidating anyone. But also it's like, she didn't really get that point. She wasn't quite connecting the dot that the pressure was supposed to be an intimidation tactic. She thought it was just him like not in I guess maybe cuz like not in the aspect of like be scared of him, but more of just like
She was getting
kind of
Twitter
pushing
pated.
pushing her around kind of thing. Like egging her on. Like what are you going to do about it? You know? Come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
To be
Y-
fair,
that kind of
you've read
thing.
it. You've read it more accurately. He is not out to intimidate you. He is just out to kind of see what you're doing when faced with him.
She's just like she's confused.
You kind of
She's
see
She's
like,
aroused.
right, like
you kind of see as he grins really wide and his teeth are very sharp now. And he lifts that huge dragon arm up in the air and he looks at you and he goes, 1. And in an instant, it comes crashing down into the earth beside you.
ooh, in the earth beside me.
You, having concentrated to kind of maintain your balance, using the energy of your kitsune form, will get to roll a dexterity saving throw with advantage.
Hell yeah. Dex saving throw advantage. You mother
With
No.
advantage, you still got a fucking
The
damn.
dice said, "Fuck your special."
Is your save only 1 on dex?
Yeah, it was an 18 and then knocked into the other
Oh.
die and rolled to the 5.
For
I
the
mean, granted, that is just the visual, not
Yes.
an
As
actual.
does not
Well,
have
if-
any effect on your roll.
Okay, so if it works the same way that the D&D Beyond does, they do actually do the physics of it.
Right. But I have that turned off.
Oh, okay.
I don't have the physics turned off. Oh, you have it turned off in there?
I
Yeah,
have it turned
in
off
this
so
system.
that it doesn't have
Saves the
any effect.
CPU.
It
I
doesn't
would almost
actually have an
rather have-
effect when they collide.
So
Oh.
Is
the
literally
air
just
of
visual.
the claw sliding past you and making contact with the ground is enough to pull you and push you away from him.
Mhm.
You are
Can I-
thrown.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me roll this real fast
Yep,
to
yep, yep.
see. You are thrown about 5 feet away from him. And where you were standing as you kind of try and lift yourself back up off the ground is roughly a 6-foot wide crater in the ground. And he kind of lifts that hand back up and shakes it off just a little bit, and some rubble falls off of it. And he looks over at you and he goes, "Good job. You stood your ground. I'll try not to kill you now."
Now she's caroused.
All right, hold on.
We won't need to roll initiative for this because it's not really combat. It's not the same. We're not going to run it as the same, as kind of the same.
Mhm.
He turns and starts walking in your direction. What is Suo
See?
going to do as he approaches you again?
This is she will probably take out her quarterstaff.
Okay, I'm going to quickly just adjust.
And I
this.
imagine her holding it. It's so I imagine the staff being used or in like a shape so that way she can use it kind of like a bow staff. So she kind of takes like a bow staff defense.
Gotcha.
And casts what's it called?
Yeah.
Shillelagh. Shillelagh.
Shalala.
And he kind of watches
Shalala.
you and he sighs. And he goes, "Man-made sticks. Wrong answer." And he swings again.
She's going to probably, as he swings, probably try to dodge out of the way and, I don't know, smack him in the head.
So first you're going to make an attack roll to see if, well, actually, so in order, you're dodging first. So dex roll, and if you're still concentrating on kind of trying to use the Kitsune energy, you can still do that with advantage.
Yes. She's gonna, if he is continuously putting, using dragon energy to put pressure on her, she's going to continuously use the Kitsune energy to counterbalance that.
Gotcha.
So much better.
All right. So you do kind of manage to slide to the side as he raises his fist to do another plunge at the earth. Now you will roll an attack. Just a regular attack roll, plus whatever you get.
That's not what I need spellbook because I need to do you. So that's an 18 to hit.
Surprisingly, it hits.
Made stick of this.
Do I do damage?
Yeah, you can roll damage.
Okay. 6 bludgeoning damage.
You see as you hit him, and you feel the force of the hit take effect. But he doesn't flinch, and his fist makes contact with the ground, creating another crater. Roll a dex save to see if the force pushes you back again.
Attribute. Dex save. Ooh. Yes. Dirty 20.
You managed to hold steady as the gust kind of pushes you again. And he turns and he looks at you and he goes, "So you're going to use a stick. That's what you got? That's your big plan. You're going to come at me with a stick. You want to fight the king of beasts, the king of dragons, with a stick. That's what you have for me." And he starts walking towards you again.
Okay, so I guess we are going beast mode. And she puts the staff away and takes the mask and goes to turn into Kitsune.
All right. So you will take on Kitsune, which I believe you have stats for. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Kitsune form.
You see as he grins and he goes, "There you go. Take me serious."
She very, very, like, noticeably rolls her eyes.
He continues to walk towards you. What are you going to do now that you are in Kitsune form?
I don't know, bite his ankles? Like,
You gonna-
he's still
you gonna
bigger
make
than me.
Are you gonna make a bite attack?
I guess so.
All right, roll for it.
Is it in here? Pictures, wild shape. I don't think it's in here the same way it's in. So I will do D20. That was aggressive.
That is a natural 20.
Plus 5, which is a 25.
Bolstered by the power of eye roll.
All right, so
Going
you got
for
a
his
nat
ankle.
20. You got a nat 20. So we will, in this fight, you are going to roll your damage and then double the damage.
So that's
So the
6 times
total,
2 is
including
12.
modifier.
Okay, so it's 6 plus 3. So that's 9. Double it is 18.
Are you adding your Kitsune fire?
Fuck it, yeah. I don't
Alright.
think I took note of that though.
I believe at your current state, it was a +3 to like +3 magic fire damage.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to.
So it'll be, you'll add 3 to that and then double it.
So 9 plus 3 is 12. Times 2 is 24.
So you bite down and you actually feel some of your teeth break through some of the scales in his leg. And then you begin to use that Kitsune fire, and it kind of, you see as he kind of stumbles just a little bit and he looks at you and he goes, "All
Going
right,
for that Achilles.
perfect." And he swings downward.
And I'll try to dodge if I can.
So you'll roll
The dex.
Dex with advantage.
Hell
It's
yeah.
not bad. However,
Damage saving you this time.
right before you can fully dodge, the side of his fist clips the side of you in your Kitsune form. You will take 17 points of bludgeoning damage.
Christ. Okay. I don't know why. I'm assuming my hit point is at maximum. I don't know why I was at 1.
Yes, your hit point is at maximum.
Okay, so.
Oh no, Suo, you've become different Suo.
Said minus 17.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. She's gonna like. What does she do? So, I'm assuming she like goes flying a little bit.
Yeah. I can tell you.
So she's
exactly
gonna,
how far
like,
you go. Hold on. You
Hop
go
up.
3 feet.
She'll hop up and look at him. And just kind of like bare her teeth. but not even in like part of it is like, ah, you got me and I'm agitated by that, but also at the same time she's just like I'm doing
He's
pretty
showing-
good.
Showing his blood on your teeth.
Right, like
Yep.
I bet you.
It's
um
like, I got one.
and so she's gonna kind of she's all I imagine is her doing the like anime like hopping over here, hopping over there, climbs up his back and tries to bite his neck.
All right, so roll an attack.
20. So that's a 19 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, and it's two. Oh, I wanted the second one. 2d6. So that's 8 plus 3,
11.
which is 11. Pinned messages. It's not pinned. How did I not pin that?
Oh no.
Dingbat. I can't remember if the fire is how often I'm allowed to do that.
In this scenario, so you are allowed to do that as many times as long as you maintain your kitsune form.
Okay.
But once you can only add that in kitsune form.
Then I'm going to go ahead and do that.
All right. So what's your total?
So an 11 plus
11, yeah.
3, 14.
All right. So he's gonna take that. Before you even hit the ground from having bitten his neck, you feel that clawed hand grab at the back of you and dig into your to your actual like the skin of your kitsune form as it grips you. And you feel in a moment, in an instant, you haven't even had a chance to recognize that pain as you are hurled upward into the sky. And he looks up at you and he goes, "Good job." And he raises his hand up and a little red orb appears in the small of his hand and he goes, "But I need you to experience fear." And and it starts to expand and you are falling midair.
Is there a way that I can use my kitsune energy to kind of like direct my fall?
So you can roll a d20 to see if you can do that.
Oh my god! That's so middle of the road.
So you're making an attempt to, and you feel like it's a possibility, but you can't quite figure out how to do it. As you look down to see how much time you have, and the red sphere has gotten large, larger than even Bahamut himself holding it. And he just kind of pushes it, and it starts to float in your direction, slowly. And he looks up at you and starts to walk so that he's within eyesight, so that the orb isn't covering him. And he looks at you and he goes, "What will you do on death's door?"
She's gonna see if she can like make almost like a foxfire cocoon to shield herself.
All right. Roll a. I'm gonna say roll a d20, and you can add survival to it.
I'll just roll survival.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah, the same.
It's an 18.
You start to manage to actually do that. The flames start to like cover you, and for a moment you feel the warmth and comfort. And he goes, "Quick thinking, very smart. I'm sure that'll do it. As you kind of feel your own warmth begin to be consumed by the sphere approaching you. And you feel a moment where that sphere that you've so crafted, that you were so sure was so strong, shatters. And you are consumed by a sphere of dragon flame.
I'm gonna get knocked out.
And you take 22 points of
I am
fire
not-
damage.
I am not knocked out, guys.
That's my girl.
Respectful, you took the hit.
So not only are you taking this 22 points of damage, but you are also
Falling.
falling, but you are also feeling every moment as that flame scorches your entire body.
Oh yeah.
And you start to plummet from about 15 feet in the air to the ground. And also you are a chibi.
Oh, that's because I'm using my numpad.
What?
My hotkeys are to my numpad, and I keep using it to do my health stuff because I prefer my numpad over the 10 keys above my QWERTY.
Right.
So when she does get hit by the fire, she definitely makes the like the creepy, blood chilling fox screech.
The woman being murdered in the forest scream?
Yeah. But like the one that you can tell it's like just animalistic enough that you can tell that it's like a fox kind of thing. That's definitely the sound she makes.
You're plummeting.
She gets burned. Yeah.
And as you kind of exit that ball, that sphere of dragon's fire, you notice that the person in front of you on the ground is looking at you, and he gives no indication that he will stop. He is, for all intents and purposes, going to kill you. And you are currently plummeting. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna try and use the spirit pressure to like try and break my fall.
Okay. Roll a dexterity saving throw with advantage.
And I will just after that attack him again because the only solution that I have really is to knock him out first because I'm stuck in here with him. Unless I can like kind of sense where the door is, but I also don't necessarily want to run either.
With 18, you manage to actually negate fall damage. Because you slow yourself down just enough to not fully injure yourself, but you do still hit the ground pretty hard.
Right.
And without
Not
hesitation,
prone kind of thing.
as you kind of like get yourself up off the ground and prepare to attack again, you notice that he is already walking at you again. So if you would like to make that attack, you can go ahead and do so.
She's going fuck. Very like poofy fox. Cause like all of her hair is like she's like porcupined.
Mm-hmm.
She's making herself larger to scare off predators.
You say that, and all
So
I can
you-
imagine is the red panda.
Actually, the way she attacks, she's not gonna bite this time.
Okay.
She is going to. How to explain this?
Counting coup.
She's not exactly. So I guess for one, she's not entirely sure what she's going to try and do. She just knows that she's going to try to do some sort of like spirit attack instead. And just kind
Okay.
of see what the kitsune inside her does. Whether that's like full Naruto, like spirit giant kitsune, like bigger than her, jumps out and does something, or what.
Roll a
He's just
d20. That's enough.
God
That is
damn it!
Well, that's enough. Not enough. As he approaches, you kind of like look him down. What is the emotion that you're looking at him with? Like, what is the feeling that you're having at this moment towards him?
Perseverance.
All right. As he gets close, and you start to try and like focus that energy, you can feel yourself kind of start to get the urge to stand on 2 feet. And as you stand up on 2 feet, you kind of take a mixture of regular suo, but you don't lose the tails. The tails persist and the ears stay. And you can see as each tail kind of fans out just a little bit, and a little ball of flame pops onto the back of it. And something, a voice in the back of your head, familiar as it was when you heard it earlier today, when Persephone looked at you, tells you, punch him in the face.
When she hears that, she's gonna get the biggest shit-eating grin and just deck him.
All right. As you pull back, you can see as he looks at you and his grin shifts from like he's having a good time, he's probably going to just get it over with and finish you now. There's a split second where his eyes stop. It's not fear, but he almost recognizes something in you. And as your fist makes contact with his face, you feel as though somebody is pushing your arm just that little extra. And you send Bahamut flying across the field, and he slams into a tree and
Just
slides down the tree with a small dent in the tree where his
Ooh.
body hit.
just like your mother did to him.
And after a second, you see as his arm kind of shifts back to normal, and he stands up, and there's a bruise already forming on his face, and he looks at you and he goes, all right, you can do it. And he just kind of looks at you after saying that.
She's just gonna be like, just kind of like roll her shoulders, right? Because I'm assuming we're in like the werewolf mode now.
Yeah, you're kind of a hybrid right now.
Right. Yeah, she just kind of like rolls her shoulders and like rolls her neck out and everything. Just kind of like, part of it is because she just decked somebody like as hard as she fucking can, and so she's like, you know, rolling out her arm. But also, it's like kind of like getting used to the feel of being in her skin. And she's like, I don't know what I was expecting, but
Sure
could
you
be
did.
worse. could be worse.
Yeah. It's good. You gotta keep the animal instinct. Part of the best weapon that Beast has in a fight is the adrenaline and the will to survive. I just had to make sure you had it. I mean, I couldn't let you be at one of the tiers of this kingdom of mine and have you make me look weak in comparison. I mean, imagine I let a kitsune go out into the wild to try and save a bunch of gods who can't save themselves, and you can't even punch a god in the face.
Well, now I can punch a god in the face.
That's great. That's good. Would you like to
Also, I
hear the
think my
worst
mom
part,
says
though?
hi.
I felt it. It felt like a greeting. It felt very, very familiar. But I will give you some friendly advice real quick. You know what the worst part about the entirety of combat as a beast person is?
She's just gonna like peek an eyebrow.
When the adrenaline stops pumping.
I have
And
no
after a little bit, you kind of having had this conversation, you suddenly become very aware that your fingers are probably broken.
idea.
At least the parts of you that are not singed to fur.
Mm.
Yeah, she is. If this is the adrenaline is wearing off, she's definitely going from like, yeah, I feel great to, I am 30 plus years old and hungover and also
I
worked
slept
out way
wrong.
too much and I slept wrong and just like kind of does the like hunch hobble.
All
And
of
it's just
that,
like,
plus all of your fingers are broken because you
right,
punched a brick wall.
You
essentially.
Well, you
punched a
gotta
brick
call me
wall,
out.
and the brick wall felt it.
Yo, that brick wall is flying.
Yeah.
I want to let
Why?
you know that
Why
was
you gotta
me
call me out?
last night after class.
Why?
I took class last night. I came home. I got on the computer after I got up from the computer to go to bed and I hobbled. Just because my body is not used to it. Um but yeah,
Okay.
she like just kind of like and as I feel like as she starts to like shrink down,
Babe, we can hear that. We can hear that.
Yes, we can hear the ice.
making
I
a nice
didn't hit the
beverage over
mute
there.
button.
As she starts to like kind of her shoulders to kind of like fold in on herself as she like feels herself just the adrenaline leave her body and the pain just overtake her. She also goes back to like normal suo sized.
He kind of walks over and he puts one hand gently on your head and he goes, fun fact, I can fix that. If you would like to not be broken. But I'm not gonna, because that would ruin the experience. You need to know the during and the after. The
So
consequences are important.
she's at first it was like almost like finger gun, like that would be awesome. And then as he says that, it very quickly goes to fuck you and flips him off. And she's
I
gonna
will,
cast
however, make you a meal.
she will definitely cast
You will not. You used an awful lot of your kitsune energy in kitsune form and before kitsune form. You're spent.
Gotcha. So almost the equivalent of all my spell slots gone. Word.
Yep.
She's just gonna
You
be like, fuck.
you pushed yourself to the limit.
She's gonna go to like cure wounds herself, right? And just be like, this is new. All right. Ah.
As you're kind of sitting there and experiencing
is
all of
so-
this,
could
Bahamut
really
is
do
like
soup.
building a very large fire. And then he just kind of looks at you and he goes, "What's your food preference?"
She actually is like like when she realizes can it be soup? Soup sounds so good right now. Something porridgey, stewy.
Do you eat meat?
I was like, rabbit on a stick sounds great too.
Got it. So what I can do is I can make you the meat part of stew.
She just thumbs up. She's like, all right, we're no ham hock, but you know, I guess we'll
The
We'll make
meat
do.
part of stew.
All right. He kind of chuckles at you, just looking at how like broken up you are, and he goes, "I can't wait to do that again after we eat." And he just kind of starts walking into the forest.
She 100% at his back goes me 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 me.
And he just kind of like lifts a hand
But,
and
like,
he goes,
not
"I have."
not I will say she doesn't make the noise, but makes the face.
He kind of just lifts his hand and kind of just does a little wave, and he's like, "I don't need to turn around to know that you're probably mad." And he just kind of disappears into the woods.
Oh god, is he doing the Emmett wave?
Almost.
No, it's more of the like forward backward like shoo, like not the sideways flick, but like almost the like if he was like
I
shooting a imaginary basketball.
She would okay. She's like he walks into the forest and she's sitting there contemplating on whether or not she wants to make a sarcastic joke about the fact that he's making her food, but then thinks better of it because she does actually really want food and she doesn't want to risk him not making her food. And she feels like if she pushes his buttons too much, he won't make her food.
That's a fair assumption. I will just go ahead and give you that casual hint. That's a fair assumption. He probably would not.
Yeah.
Cuz like
You could almost make an entire bet on the idea that if you push it too much, he's gonna look at you and be like, "Oh, well, if you're okay enough to pick fun at me, then I guess you're okay
Right.
enough to try again." Yeah.
she's just like just gonna sit down. Just gonna sit down.
All right. I already rolled. Speaking of food, ham. You're still finishing up because we're doing this side by side, so not linear. Like we're not going in time. We're going side by side here.
I've just been in the kitchen, or dining room,
You're in the dining room, finishing up. I guess. What was Ham eating? Well, you were eating oatmeal with bacon, right?
and other forms of ham. But yeah,
Ham, as you're kind of left alone in the dining hall, across from you, a table or like a chair pulls out. Aggressive, like not aggressively, but you can hear it drag across the ground. And you hear the sound of somebody sitting in it, and you hear the sound of two, what you can only assume to be like legs get propped up again on top of the table. But you can't see anyone in front of you.
I smell the air.
It smells very, very familiar to you. Like the scent of somebody who's been in the kitchen for a long time.
I slide a bowl of oatmeal across the table.
You kind of hear a voice go, yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. I can't actually eat any of that.
An
and
ultimate
it kind of pushes it back to you. It is a shame.
Grab it, munch it. Yum, yum.
You got a nice book, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. How many recipes you cook out of it?
Haven't hit the triple digits yet, but I imagine I'm getting pretty close. I don't exactly keep track. I just see if it adds new ones every now and then.
Worth it. There's a lot of good ones in there.
Yeah, I got a little bit of something for everything. I also collect the recipes of others that I find.
You sure do. You sure do. Heard you got a new recipe recently.
Silently crunch on some crispy bacon.
Chef, a few words, huh?
A chef's words don't often mean very much. People always want you to prove what you say. It's your skill in the kitchen that carries you.
Mm. All right. Well, what do you think about the food in front of you?
It's all the correct ingredients, and they're all prepared correctly.
But it doesn't have the right mojo, huh?
Yeah, I can't nail it. I don't know if it's an ingredient that it's missing, or something else.
Probably a mixture of a corporeal form, emotions, maybe some feelings. Some might even say a little bit of life.
Yeah, it feels a little utilitarian. It's like a
Yeah.
ration.
Haven't really been able to cook right. Really unfortunate. Can't eat, can't cook right.
Well, if you can't eat, it's hard to cook things.
Well, you know, I have all the motions down. But like, it's not the same. So that book,
Mm-hmm.
the recipe, the new one.
Which one? The newest one?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about it?
You asked some questions to the book, huh?
Yeah, it actually responded.
Sure did, huh? A little confused, I assume.
A little bit. Mostly at my foolishness of not asking the book earlier. Could have saved myself a lot of times with a lot of recipes that I use trial and error to fix.
Hmm.
It seems to have a wealth of experience that I don't. I should have been tapping into that.
Correct. Question. What's the normal lifespan of a folk like you?
I don't know. 4 to 6 years.
Hmm.
I hear that our upper limit is significantly higher than that, but most of my folk don't live in the safest of ways.
Fair. Fair. Got a good companion with you though. That's good. What's his normal lifespan?
Probably somewhere around the same, maybe a little bit less. I say of our theoretical maximum. I don't know. He could probably. Geez, he probably. I think his upper limit is when we can no longer feed him enough to sustain him, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, most of them don't perish to natural causes.
Gotcha. Humor me. When did you leave your burrow?
Oh, geez, it's probably been about 4 years now.
Are you sure it's only been 4 years?
Pretty sure. Because
Oh,
the
sure.
last I counted, and it's difficult because I only have 4 fingers instead of 10. But I think I'm 10. And it was about 4 years ago, so I was about 6 when I left. If the maths. I've been traveling for a while.
Cobalt. Not very good at math. That's funny.
You know, most recipes taste better if you cook them to taste. I'm not too big on the measurements.
Yeah. You're not too good at measuring time, huh?
Most things you don't have to be. If you're cooking a pie, you can look at it, you can smell it. Your other senses help you cook things for the appropriate amount of time.
Well, yeah. What if I told you there was maybe a 0 or 2 missing?
I'd believe 1 0, 2 zeros is a bit of a stretch.
Hmm. I guess it would be a little bit hard to believe, especially if you're not good at counting it.
He's like, the entire time this conversation is over, he's like holding up his hands and randomly opening and closing different fingers, like sliding numbers back and forth on an abacus with no beads on it.
The recipes in that book, they get dated, yeah?
Yeah, we gotta make sure we know when they're updated.
Yeah, how much attention you pay to those dates in that book?
I mean, the recipes don't expire, so I've not been looking at them too hard. The only thing that's ever
Humor.
happened is that every now and then an ingredient goes extinct on me. Or I should say is hard to find.
Extinct is probably accurate. Humor me. What's the date on the first recipe you put in that book?
Squinty-eyed Ham munches some bacon and ham and then opens the book. What is it?
Ham, you look over the page and you kind of get that little bit of like, well, this is a little ridiculous. I know how old I am, even though I'm not good at time. You know, that Ham feeling of like, what a weirdo. You look at the date in the corner, you read it once, and you're like, well, yeah, see, look, that's right. You read it twice. You kind of stop for a second.
Mental math, which I then decide to do with my fingers.
And then you read it a third time. And you start
Hold
to
on.
realize
The gears are turning.
that those numbers, they're not adding up to 4 or 6.
Okay, this number is definitely higher than 4 or 6.
Yeah, a bit, huh?
Squinty eyes. What game are you playing, Chef of the Darkness?
I'm not playing any game. It's your book, right?
Well, it's not just mine. I assume that I just found it. It's got 3 H's on the back. I'm only 2 of them.
Yeah. But that book, you asked a question in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that other H, it responded.
That's what I assume, yeah.
Why do you think they were able to respond?
Because they're trapped in the book.
When somebody needs to pass knowledge on, how do they how's a couple ways that maybe they do that?
Stories, school, books, which are a part of stories in school. Sometimes you just let the little kobolds burn their hands on the stove and they learn the lesson the hard way.
Yeah. Books. We'll go with that one.
Yeah, that was a 3 out of 4.
You know what? This was a fun conversation. You're an interesting guy. Couple extra zeros on that age. Pretty interesting. Good times. We'll see where that goes. The chair kind of pushes itself in, and you hear footsteps kind of start to move away.
He like looks down at a hand holding up 4 claws. Can I have some emotional support, cheese?
A plate kind of drops on the table with some varying cheeses.
I grab a wedge of cheese, the book, and I leave. I go to find the master of books. Buns.
Somewhere there's a Daenerys sitting at a table. There's like stacks of books lining both of them if they've been reading for a little bit. And Daenerys goes, "Wait, I'm offended."
Doesn't know why, doesn't know in what way, but he just is.
And he just looks over at Buns and he goes, "I don't know why. I'm offended."
I feel like Buns would
Three-
just know
3
somebody.
minutes later, Buns looks up. Huh?
Actually, no, yeah, that makes more sense.
He just kind of looks at Buns and he goes, "Don't know why. Don't know if it's going to matter later. I'm offended." And he just looks back at his book and starts reading.
Oh, sorry? She goes back to her book.
Ham, give me just a flat D20 so I can see so you can see if you can actually manage to figure out, like, stumble upon this.
Okay, hold on. We're busting out the new dice tray.
New dice tray.
We're
It's a dice
busting
tray
out
that's
the
new.
demi dice. I love that I can call them that.
The demi dice in the
Natural
new dice
20.
tray.
Well,
You manage to completely ignore the giant door that says library and stumble past it. And then you stumble upon a symbol that is vaguely familiar to you as the symbol on the bunny person's head.
so that actually tracks though.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it
that
does.
he that Ham would just go completely past the door that actually says library. Because
I feel
that's not
like
where
his
Buns is.
rationale would be every time that we've been told to go to a library by Daenerys, it's no, not that library, a different library. And he just takes it sarcastically to mean that he'll never actually go to a library again.
Yep.
So you are outside of this door with that same that symbol on it.
Knock, knock. And I do say that out loud in character.
God, is that a Ham? Is Ham? How did he even? Buns, can you go see what Ham wants? I don't even know why is he here? How did he find this?
Buns takes her
Flips
book,
page.
her nose still buried in it, and runs into the door before opening it. Yeah? What's up?
Bunny, I need help with math and books.
Okay. D, I think he needs our help.
Yeah, what's he want? I don't know how to cook.
How long ago was the date on this first recipe? And I hold up the book like above my head.
Buns, you kind of look at it and you just give it a quick glance, and without a second thought, you realize that it's about About 656 years ago.
656.
Bullshit. Bookman, confirm.
I have a
Buns,
name, Ham.
Buns just looks at him. Are you saying I'm lying to you, or that I'm wrong?
I am 10 years old. This is very old for a kobold. But I am not 656 years old. That just doesn't math out.
Daenerys just kind of floats over and he goes, "I'm gonna humor you because you never ask me about books, and I'm not gonna like let this slip by the one time." And he looks at the book and he goes, 656. That's how many years ago this was.
Thank you, dear.
Why does
Okay,
that matter?
I'm gonna humor you here. I sit the book down.
Okay.
So I wrote that recipe.
Did you put the wrong date on it?
No, the dates are kind of self-maintaining.
You're a kobold.
Yep.
He just kind of looks down at the book and he looks at Ham and he gives a little squint and he goes, "You sure you didn't mess the date up?"
I'm gonna open the book and write down, is this date accurate on the first page?
The first page, a little bit of letters kind of respond to you, and they just say, "All dates accurate."
The book speaketh. You trust the book, don't you? But you also understand how ludicrous this all sounds, right? Because I'm 10.
I
I'm
mean,
10.
hypothetically, if you weren't 10, it would be impossible for you to live to like 656 years old.
Right.
That makes no sense then.
That's what the ghost chef said.
The what?
Or that's what I told the ghost chef.
I'm sorry, who'd you talk to?
You know the guy that was making all the food in the kitchen?
They don't talk.
Yeah, they do.
No, they've never talked. They're not real. They're literally creations. They
The
do not have
food
the
that
ability to
graced
talk.
your lips, although missing a special ingredient, was delicious and made by a potentially real apparition that deserves credit for the food that it did make, despite the fact that it cannot eat.
I mean, the apparitions make food. They don't speak, Ham. They don't have the capability to.
Wait, D, are you saying he's lying?
I'm not saying he's lying, but if he talked to an invisible something, it definitely wasn't one of the apparitions that brings food. They don't speak.
Can you confirm this? I confirmed my fact. I hold up the book.
Are you asking me if I can confirm how this place made to house the god of light and also be the meeting place for all gods works?
Yes.
Positively.
Yes, I can confirm to you with hundreds of years of experience that they do not speak.
Well, then who was I talking to? You know what? Hey. You can. I'm like pointing at him. I'm like, you can look at my book. My book will say that I spoke to them.
Your book will say that you spoke to them. Okay, where in this book is it going to tell me that?
From about 10 minutes ago.
Okay. He kind of picks up the book and he flips to the page that you've been writing questions on and getting answers. And he looks at you and he goes, "Ham, there's nothing on this page. This is literally just the front of the book, Ham. There's nothing here."
My eyes are squinting so tight they could be closed.
I know what you're probably going to say. And he turns the book and he holds it towards Buns. Can you please confirm before he calls me a liar that there is nothing on this page? You also see nothing on that page.
Not even the recipe?
This is the right page?
They can see the recipe. They do not see where you have asked questions and gotten answers.
Are you sure this is the right page?
Ham, are you okay? Are you feeling sick? Do you have a fever?
Bunch out of my emotional support cheese.
I mean,
Buns
he's
reaches
eating,
into
but
her
that doesn't really mean anything. Yes.
Buns reaches into her pocket and offers some pocket bacon.
I wrap a piece of cheese in bacon.
That sounds so good right now.
That does, though. That really does.
Hey,
You know, I could probably deep fry that.
That would probably
Well,
be
I
really
mean, that still doesn't tell me if you're sick or not, because I feel like even if you were incredibly ill, you would be thinking about how to cook things. So, are you sure you're not ill? Are you dying? Is this it for you?
So there's a couple things, right?
Uh huh.
I got a relatively unique response from the lady earlier.
The lady,
The beautiful one.
Persephone.
Yes.
Okay, and
And
what was your unique response? I'm sorry, I didn't.
that she doesn't want to see me later.
I mean, you are rather. Look, I don't want to be. Buns, I don't know how to put this nicely. I mean, he's a little. You know what I'm trying to. You
You're a little much.
continue, Ham.
Well, first there was that, and I was trying to figure it out. And then, as I'm sitting there thinking, a something pulled away the chair and spoke to me about the food that was being made. And I offered him
Something-
some oatmeal bacon, and he said he couldn't eat, and he gave it back to me. And he said that I was older than 10. And he had me confirm this with the date in the book.
Ham. Important question.
Mhm.
This invisible man.
Mm-hmm. He smelled like a chef. Smells trustworthy.
Did he kind of, how did he talk? Like his cadence, if you will, how?
Oh gosh, I'm not going to be able to replicate that. Do you hear this voice?
Well, no, I mean just the vibe he gave.
Could I get a recall on the vibe that I remember?
Yeah, you get the sense that he very much took everything as casually as possible and did not put a lot of effort or seriousness into the conversation. He kind of just threw things out and like dropped information without really giving any answers, and it was the most casual, nonchalant kind of conversation that might just change your life.
You know,
The best way that I can
you-
describe the way that he spoke is like, imagine that you're not hungry, but you're bored and you want to make a stew and you're kind of just throwing everything in, but you don't really care what's going to happen to the stew. So you just keep adding some stuff and you're just doing it. And you don't care if it even turns out good. You're just kind of doing it. It's kind of that nonchalant, like, I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Oh.
He was like super casual.
And he smelled like, you said
Yeah, he
Gotcha.
smelled like someone that works in the kitchen.
Gotcha.
Smelled like someone that worked in the kitchen. Super nonchalant and very chill. Knew about the book and that I had asked questions to the book and that the book could confirm, apparently, that I am older than I say I am. He was well knowledgeable for someone I couldn't see.
That sounds very familiar to somebody I'm well acquainted with, or I guess I was well acquainted with. Um.
Buns reaches out and puts a hand underneath D, just supporting him so that he doesn't like fall to the floor.
All over.
In a hypothetical in a hypothetical world where everything you're saying is 100% accurate,
Does this person's name start with the letter H?
yes,
Mm.
yes, it certainly does. Gotcha. Okay. Right. Uh, that would have that would have been quite the person you talked to.
I mean no offense when I say this, but I haven't had a conversation with a normal person in like 3 days.
Well, you might be a little upset to know this because I don't know how serious you took that conversation. That would have been hypothetically, once again, in a hypothetical world where this is all 100% accurate, everything you're saying, that would have been Hestia. That would have been Hestia. That would have been, yeah. That would have been the most fantastic chef in the entire world, and also the god in charge of food preparation and the hearth, and essentially all things gathering around the dinner table.
Do I know this name?
You can make a history or religion check.
D20. Character sheet.
Character sheet. Character sheet.
That's why
What do you mean why?
I can't scroll down on. There we go. I had to move the character sheet to another screen because it wouldn't let me scroll down. That will be a solid 7. We'll just go with religion.
You don't really know anything about them. You know that they're just from this in general adventure that clearly there was a god of food prep and cooking and all of that, but you have no idea what that H would stand for. So you also have no idea who Hestia is.
All right. You're making this sound like it's an impossibility for reasons other than the current situation, and possibly referring to them in the past tense. Is there a reason?
Well, I mean, you know, all gods disappeared a while ago. Hestia would have been, well, that one would have been particularly, that one was different. Hestia, I guess the gentle and nicer way to put it, which is what it was, honestly. Hestia would have been the last and only god to have spoke of retirement.
So he just quit.
Well, we weren't really sure because shortly after a little bit of disappearance, mind, we all kind of got lost. I had just assumed that Hestia probably also had fallen into the category of gods who lost their memory.
Okay. So, in the hypothetical situation where Hestia wrote this book, this blank book, and I hypothetically acquired it over 600 years ago, I think we can at least both agree that this sounds really crazy.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, no. He just kind of looks at you and then he looks at Buns and he goes, no.
It could be.
I don't, no.
Is this
There-
one
Well,
of those things you don't want to believe?
Yes. Because he kind of like turns around and he kind of like floats back and forth almost as somebody pacing, and he's like, just like, it'd be ridiculous because in this hypothetical situation, then like it would have meant that like Hestia retired, which one is is crazy. We haven't even figured out what that actually means. That just wasn't that's crazy talk. And then but then like Buns, even more believable. That would mean hypothetically that like Ham. That would Ham.
Could
That
Ham be Hestia's replacement?
I
he
just
looks
really
at
like
Ham.
the idea that D has like the buffering symbol just like plastered on his face.
He looks at Ham, and then he looks at Buns. It's Ham. Like
You've eaten his food. Was
all
it?
right. All
Is
right.
it as
All
good
right.
as
Here we go.
Hestia's
Here we
food?
go.
Oh,
I
wait,
think you were
wait,
in the middle of something. What
wait,
was that? What was that, Buns?
wait. D, what year did you guys forget everything?
oh, that that's like probably a couple thousand years ago.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, I would remember that much. I mean, I can't give you a pinpoint time on that, but it's been long enough that many a mortal think worship insane. Some
If
still
Buns
kind
wore
of-
if Buns wore glasses, she'd be looking over the top of rim of her glasses at D. Like, really? You're sure?
I mean, if memory serves, weren't you the first one that went to sleep?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a couple. It's like at a minimum 2,000. A minimum 2,000 years ago, probably at a minimum. At a minimum.
Ham. Ask the book. It's a book.
Yeah, I do think that D here would be disappointed if I didn't turn to the book for questions.
I'm a little concerned. I need like where's another I need like another person. Where's Mace? Mace wouldn't believe this. Mace, haha, where is he? I need somebody else who just would like
I don't know. He's
uh
with that lady that said that they helped
rah,
kill the mace.
I just this is because we're insinuating that Ham that Ham It's ham.
Here, he's like a
Here,
brother.
let's do this, all right? You don't have to commit to anything. I have some new information to work with. Do you have a book on Hephaestus? Hestia. There we go.
Yeah, Buns, can you please retrieve a book on, yes.
And then I can get
please.
out of your hair.
Buns goes in, puts her head on the hand on the table, and thinks,
I just imagine her running in faceplant.
When you want to get the thought to the table quicker.
yeah, she does that too. She's like, it takes too long at desk. The life and times of the god Hestia.
A couple books plop down on the table. One
Grabs
of them specifically is a biography,
A biography?
like a start to assumedly the last known whereabouts of Hestia, like, you know, just like a guide of where they came from, who they were, the last place they probably were in terms of when this book was written.
How long ago was the book written?
The book itself, considering Daenerys'
First printing.
disappearance, would have been as close to when Daenerys' memory was wiped. So maybe just like a year or two more than 2000-ish years.
Like that's when the book was.
That's when the last part of the book, or at least the last.
That's when the last entry was dated, quote unquote.
Yes, which would be factual for a majority of the books in Daenerys' library at this moment, because that would have been when Daenerys ceased having access to it.
Ah.
Okay. And then you said a couple of other books.
So there's a
Yeah.
2,000-year gap of knowledge.
For Daenerys, yes, and it kind of gets pieced together, but it's getting pieced together from current time backwards. So the knowledge he has pertained in relation to the adventure is because his knowledge, he is relearning everything, but in terms of starting point, current time, slowly working back.
Okay. So, and what was the other book?
There's probably
Hestia?
about 2 other books. One is the meaning of gathering around the hearth and worship of Hestia, and then the other book would be the importance of the temple.
Okay. Daenerys, can he borrow these books?
Yeah, sure.
If
But
it
if you
makes
get
you
any
feel any better, I
food,
can read it in here.
if you get, you can read it wherever you want. But if you do anything to damage it or get any stains on it, I will rip your heart out.
And I will be very disappointed in you.
I wouldn't want to make Buns disappointed. She's too cute.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go read because this was my nightmare. And he just kind of floats away.
I'll just be sitting right outside this door. I ain't got nowhere else to be. And he,
Wanna sit in the comfy chairs?
if there's a comfy chair, I'll take it.
There's a bunch of like comfortable reading chairs in the just in the vicinity.
And I use my clean hand that is not covered in cheese, grease, and bacon to read from. We're gonna start with the biography. Start with the big one, work my way down.
All right. As you get started on reading that, we're going to slide on over to Mace.
And Vlad.
Mace, you, yes, Mace and Vlad. Vlad,
I'll be
you're
back.
just a little behind. The Mace and them left a little before you. Mace, you're following this strong woman in front of you who is holding a very large wrench as if it was a pencil. And she's just like, all right, so like, which one's your favorite eye? Just as small talk, I guess.
I suppose As I'm lining up a javelin shot, I do line up the shot with the right one.
Alrighty, that's a good side. As she kind of like leads you through, asking her version of small talk, which is referring to everything she says is in reference as if you are in fact a machine. Uh, so instead of being like, "What's your favorite food?" she's like, "What's your favorite thing to use to maintain yourself?" When you need new shoes, like, do you measure like from metal to metal, or do you have like a different version of like what a comfortable shoe for you is? Uh, and You start to feel heat, and you hear kind of like a very loud, like almost. It sounds like it would sound similar to an engine. And she gets close to a door, and she kind of looks at you, and she goes, good small talk." Anyway,
As a response to the shoe thing, actually, he would comment, "I really haven't had to find new equipment. The wizard that I travel with has mending, and so most of my stuff has lasted through quite a long and lot of wear and tear."
ah, well, good. Sounds like you have a reasonable and decent mechanic. And she kicks the door, and it kind of like flies open, and you are met with like the roar of a furnace and very intense heat, as this entire room is just a massive blacksmith's heaven. All right, get on the table. I'll rip your eye out. She motions towards not a table, but a rather large anvil in the center of the room.
That is, I mean, I suppose that does work as an operating table for my kind.
To be fair, I'm not a. It's water. Yes, please. To be fair, I'm not a. You're custom made. You don't really have. I mean, would it be offensive if I said you don't have kind? I mean, there's like two other of you, so I guess you have siblings. Does that count?
He looks at her dead in the eye. I suppose that does count, yes.
All right. You got those goggles that you want me to replace your eyes with?
He takes them back off his head, hands them to her.
She looks down at them and she goes, "Huh, they're pretty nice, well crafted. Eh, they'll do." Table.
The shop that I bought them from, as he climbs up onto the anvil, the shop that I bought them from mentioned that they were dark vision goggles, and with them I have been able to see where I usually could not.
Oh yeah, we didn't put dark vision on you, cause like, why would you need to see in the dark? You're constantly in a glittery hotel, essentially. And she can see as she kind of like aggressively is talking to you, and she like leans back against the table, and you'd watch as she almost like, most people would view this as a very painful act. She just forces the lens out of this very expensive magical set of goggles. She just kind of takes two fingers and pushes them out.
Oh.
What?
The closest to a guttural reaction that Mace has ever made just escapes his
His body creates guts so that he can have a guttural reaction.
She kind of like tilts her head and she goes, "It's just glass. Calm down." She turns around. She like reaches down into like an open chest on the ground, and she kind of like pulls out. She goes, You have a color preference? You sticking with like red? What you want to change it? We could change it. You could have two different colors. How you feeling?
Um, I mean, I kind of figured they would lighten up in color a bit.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying you have a choice. We have like I have a multitude of like different gems here. What do you want? And she just kind of like picks up this really large chest and drops it on the table next to you, and it's just filled to the brim with different colored spheres, uh, gems that were like polished and carved down into perfectly round spheres.
Um, I suppose going for more of an amber or a rust color.
Gotcha. She kind of reaches in and she pulls out two that are a little bit more of that amber rust color, and she's like, "These work. You want two different colors? Eh? Eh?" They never really do. I'm gonna be real with you. Everybody kind of goes for the same color.
The same color is fine.
Yeah, you didn't look like you were gonna have a lot of fun. All right. She kind of takes it back over and she drops it, and then you see it's like her back turns to you, and she's using like multitude of tools, but you can't really see what she's doing particularly. With her back still turned to you, you kind of hear as she says, "I remember making you."
How long ago was that, if you don't mind me asking?
Probably good 3, maybe 4 at the most, I'd say.
Centuries?
Centuries or millennia?
Ah, 1,000. It's fine.
What of what of my siblings? Do you know of their whereabouts?
No, I uh I crafted you 3, and then I I essentially gave you to your adopted parent, and that was that. I crafted perfection 3 times and then had to give it away.
I can imagine that being a tough thing to do as an artisan.
I imagine it's very similar to giving up a child, yeah? Uh, if, mortal stuff, though. You don't really have kids as a god, I guess, whatever that means. Well, I mean, one person did. They lost it all. What an example. And you can kind of hear more items being like fiddled with, uh, tiny little taps against metal.
Who was that?
Well, your friend's mom. The only god to ever give it all up for a kid.
Oh, you mean Suo's mom.
Yeah. I wondered, occasionally what it would have been like, to give it all up for something. Uh, you kind of see as she lowers the goggles on her head down. But who would give up? Who would give up all this? And she just turns around and she goes, "You ready for some new peepers?"
And I suppose a mother's love would cause some irrational actions.
She kind of walks over and she puts the tray down and she kind of just looks at you and she goes, I'm going to need you to kind of go in a rest mode. It'll be easier to work that way. You can see she like starts to like get the tools she needs. And do you start going into quote unquote rest mode?
Apologies if my words struck a chord. I shall go into standby now.
The last thing you kind of see before going into standby is her walking over to the table and a little like what seems like hard to make out as your vision starts to fade, a glint of some maybe water gliding from under the goggles. As she says, she seemed pretty sane to me. And then you kind of pass out. Vlad, as you're kind of trying to like catch up to Mace and the blacksmith, you kind of hear as they're like having these casual conversations, and something kind of catches the side of your eye. A very familiar symbol and a room filled with warmth. As you turn and you see a sun-shaped sigil on a door.
Without any hesitation, I start making my way over to the door to investigate this familiar feeling that I'm experiencing at the moment.
The door almost feels very welcoming and inviting, and you get, without opening the door, you can feel what feels like the warmth of the sun radiating from behind it.
Almost as if feeling welcomed to enter this room, I open the door and walk in with almost no hesitation, almost as if it feels like it's home to me, like I've been here before.
You're greeted with a large room, and kind of in the center of this room is a statue of a familiar looking person. You would recognize this as the visage of the sun god himself. Sun peers from beautiful, almost crystal clear windows above, um, and the light seems to constantly strike the figure in the perfect way. The room is surrounded on all sides with different architectures and vases and arts, almost from every single point uh, of like varying religions and areas that you've seen in your travels. And some that you can't quite make out, but you recognize from being possibly even further than you've traveled.
As I would look around the room carefully, inspecting all these artifacts known to me and unknown, I almost feel like I need to take a moment to stop and say a silent prayer to praise the Almighty Sun.
For a brief moment, you feel as almost, you get that feeling of somebody is listening to your prayer and they're hearing you. And then you get this moment of somebody, it feels as though somebody is standing behind you. And a warm hand touches your shoulder. And you hear a voice that you've never heard before. And it speaks softly to you and it says, "How are you?"
I am doing well. I feel like I am at peace.
Are you happy?
Yes, I could say I am happy.
Does your form bother you?
It used to, but no longer. Do I allow it to bother me? For I have come to bear the curse as more of a blessing, almost like a second chance at life.
You know that you're stuck in between life and death, and neither side really keeping hold of you.
Yes, that is the understanding that I've seemed to have discovered over my many years of travel in seeking answers.
Somebody seeks to control you. Do you know that?
I didn't know this before, but I've been having eerie feelings that there's been something amok.
Vlad, do you trust them? Those that you travel with?
Yes, I trust them with. I trust them as much as a soldier can, for I have met many in my travels, yet I have not met any group of people group like them. Without them, I don't think I would have been able to carry on much longer. Like my journey would have come to an end.
Vlad, the person who seeks to control you, though contained ever so briefly, Vlad, they will seek to kill them all.
I will not let that happen. I will do anything and everything it takes to prevent that.
Vlad, you say you would do anything to keep them safe. What if anything meant that one day you yourself have to give up existing entirely? No this life or one after.
It may be a very tough decision, but if the time is right, I think I would be willing to put my literal life and soul on the line for my comrades.
Vlad, know that the sun is always with you, even if the dark hides its gleam. Call for me in the moment where you have to make that choice, and I promise to be there and help you make it.
I shall never forget the praise and the glory of the sun.
You kind of feel as that presence dissipates, and you are once again just in this room, only surrounded by the warmth of the sun.
I take a moment to pause and reflect on what had just happened there, taking those words to heart, almost as if I'm jotting down mental notes so that I will never forget this moment for when that time comes.
All right. So, Suo, you've eaten a meal and you feel restored. No longer injured and fully as if you, I don't know, in game terms, took a long rest. Guess.
Cool.
Uh, you see as Bahamut, who was having a cheery conversation and explaining the many different kind of activities that dragons and beasts get up to, and he stops
Giggity.
and he stands up and he waves his hand and the doors appear again. And he looks to you and he gives a little grin and he says, "Well, this is a change. It seems as though she calls you."
Um, she's gonna be like, "Who calls me?"
Persephone herself asks for you.
Oh, okay. And she's gonna be like, I guess we'll get back to this another time.
Yeah. And he looks at you, and as you kind of start to move towards the doors, he kind of says, uh, from one beast to another, uh, know that, uh, know that Persephone never asks lightly. Whatever she requests will be quite a heavy burden.
Well, that's cool. Cool. Good to know.
Uh,
And I
Vlad,
guess
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I guess I just go towards that.
Vlad, there's a knock at the door behind you as you're in the sun god's room. And you hear as the door slowly creaks open, and you kind of look through it, and it's not the hallway, and you can't really make out exactly where it leads. As one of the figures, the masked figures from earlier that opened the doors for Persephone, the one in a black suit and a white plague mask, walks in, and he kind of bows to you and then turns sideways and gestures through the door.
After noticing them walk in, I give a slight nod of my head, and when I see them gesturing to walk out of the room, I will head out the room and follow them to wherever they need to go, or wherever they're leading me.
Got it. Buns and Ham, there is a similar knock at Denier's library door, and it creaks open, and you are greeted with the other uh, figure who opened the doors for Persephone. And it walks in, bows slightly to each of you individually, turns sideways, and gestures through a similarly dark door leading to not sure where.
D?
He looks up and he kind of looks down and looks around a bit, and then he looks at Buns and he looks at Ham and he goes, "She requests you." You're muted.
Um,
Is she big?
Persephone.
Oh
She
yeah.
requests you.
Oof, I hope she's not offended. I messed up her name earlier.
Uh,
Better get up and leave.
she doesn't really get offended. Buns.
Yeah.
As Ham kind of like walks through, D kind of floats over and he goes, I just wanted to make sure you look presentable. And he leans in close and he whispers, Buns, she's going to make a request. And this request is going to be something that not even a god can do. Be careful.
I do.
Well, you look presentable. I will finish these books. Enjoy your conversation.
Buns just looks at Denier like he has just broken her heart because he didn't answer her question. And turns and heads out the door.
Rip.
Be safe. You can kind of hear that he meant it to sound lighthearted, but you could also still hear the faint worry in his tone. Mace, you come back from your rest with new eyes, and as you kind of start to adjust, you see the woman, the blacksmith, kind of standing by her double doors, leaning against a table, arms crossed, and she looks over and she says, Good nap?
He sits up, wraps the chain back around his torso. Yeah. It was definitely the usual nap there. Nothing out of the ordinary. You didn't strike anything. I suppose be expected from my initial creator.
Best blacksmith in, I dare to say, all of everything. She kind of walks over to you as you sit up on the table, and she reaches out and she puts one hand on your chest and she goes, I did make one change without your permission. Sorry, it's not a habit I do lightly, I promise.
What have you done?
When I made you, I put in your chest, I put at the time a label. Seeker and number 3. As you were the last one of the 3 that I created. And your job was to seek a simple label. You're no longer
I had
you're no
asked Mother
longer
what
a
that meant.
I don't fully know what it means myself. It was just the one-word description I got. You're no longer a machine. You no longer have a singular purpose. And she kind of reaches out and she touches where a human heart would be on your chest. And she goes, You don't deserve a label, you deserve a name. I replaced it. It says Mace. That's my gift to you.
He places, I suppose, his hand over hers. I appreciate the gesture.
You're probably the best thing I ever made. Wear that with pride.
I
Being the best thing I ever made. Kind of see as she kind of like shakes her head a little bit to shake off whatever was happening in that moment for her. She looks at you and she goes, being the best thing I ever made, it's vitally important that you take care of yourself. You're a representation of my work, you know? It seems Persephone calls, and she never calls lightly. If you damage the best thing I ever made, I will have to take you apart. So, don't do that.
I feel like that's builder talk for don't die or else I'll have to kill you.
essentially.
That is actually what it is, yeah.
As
She kinda-
he
She
gets up,
removes her hand and kind of steps to the side.
as he gets up, it will meet her gaze. I will make you proud.
As you kind of like, she gestures to the door, and as you kind of walk away, you kind of hear under her breath as she says, yeah. Yeah, she wasn't crazy. She made the right choice. And she kind of starts cleaning up her mess. You all walk through doors and are greeted by each other in the same space. A long red carpet leads down a dark something. One by one, lanterns light on each side, almost leading you onward, until at the end sits Persephone on a throne made of metal that is all black. On each side stands the two figures that opened the doors for her. She smiles a brief smile, and she looks at you all, and she goes, I'm sorry. I don't make requests lightly. But somebody has wronged me. And for that, I beg you take a life. And that's where we'll end.
Interesting.
And if you look on stream, you'll see the new mace.
I use that sound because you guys level up.
I was about to say, do we level up?
Hooray!
Level 5.
And only one of you had to get your bones broken to do it. Congratulations, Suo.
I got to eat food.
I get a feat.
You get a human feet.
Now,
I can tell you all about those.
I got a rock.
Yay!
And we
did
went a
it.
little over time. Wow. I did
Only
it.
a
I
little.
nailed it. Good job, me.
Timing was, mwah, chef's kiss.
All right. Did everybody have a good time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeet.
cool. I didn't emotionally scar too many people. You're all welcome. Congratulations.
I
You
think
made it
I
through.
emotionally scarred
You
the
found the
I-
only way to emotionally scar Ham, and you forced him to do 4-digit math.
What? Dab.
I think I was the one that was doing the emotional scarring for a couple of them.
You made a woman who just crafts things her entire life feel like a mom for a minute.
Ooh.
Babe, I almost
Jab,
sent
jab,
you a
jab.
message saying to call her mom.
I almost did.
Uh,
Almost did.
All right. But with that, we will go around to these not emotionally scarred people. Although I am proud, I did say that I would emotionally scar everybody. So enjoy that, Ham. Speaking of people who
Math.
are getting worked on emotionally to harm them, Ham, where can people find you on the internet? He's dead.
Once in a millennia. Although it might be 10 years, could be 10 minutes. Who knows? Yeah, that link right there.
You can find me at twitch.tv/little_foxy. And then
'Cause I
M
am the
says,
smallest.
wow, that's crazy.
I am the littlest Foxy. No one is smaller than I.
And then
Just do
M
what I
says,
got.
M, you're supposed to say your line. You're supposed to say, wow, that's crazy.
Wow, that's crazy.
We'll work on it. We'll,
I guess,
Yeah.
Ross delivery is kind of a high bar to set.
You go,
I'm sorry,
Keith. I'm going to
no,
need you to
wait,
work on that in
I'm sorry,
post,
sorry.
please.
Wait.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay, go for it.
Oh my god, Atlas, that is so crazy.
You know what? Yugoki, take that cut. You take that cut.
Yeah, I'll do.
Speaking of things that Yugoki does that are amazing, Yugoki, where can people see the amazing things that you do?
They are all over. They are here on Twitch, over on YouTube, and on your phone as well. With you to use the TikTok app and Instagram app. There we go. Those are words. All the locations you're looking to find me, you'll find me by using the tag Egoki Wolf.
Ego Wolf.
Speaking of the other person that does a lot of stuff and then denies all the stuff that they do for the team, Zana, where can people find you on the internet?
Twitch.tv_ Oh wait, no underscore. Three underscores.
The power of underscore claims you.
You
Yes.
said Ross one time.
Underscore. The underscore has claimed me. TTT. Words
Yugoki, you're
today.
gonna have to factory reset Miss Fifth. I don't think she's working.
Here on Twitch. And on Yugoki's streams, throwing plushies at him.
Do it.
Wow, that's crazy. M, say the line, please.
Oh my god, that's so crazy, Atlas.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for saying that line. Now, M, where can people find you on the internet when you're not saying the lines when I ask for them?
You can find me at twitch.tv/emredfeather, which honestly, you could probably see me saying random lines to Alice all the time because we do Whittle Guy Wednesdays every Wednesday around like 9:30 Eastern.
Yeah, you should tune in. I hit on M last time. It was real smooth.
I was like, what's 9:30? 30 minutes from the 100th hour?
Speaking of people who deserve to be hit on, Husky, where can people find you on the internet?
You can
Accurate.
usually find me lurking either in the Discord or in Twitch chats here. If I'm not there, I'm usually somewhere gaming with somebody.
Somewhere gaming with somebody.
That is the most accurate thing I've ever
Wow.
heard.
And you can find me at twitch.tv/AtlasRiven. That's right. I've messed it up so many times that you guys were expecting it, but I did it right that time.
Isn't that what you usually say?
No, normally I say something else. Like normally I say you can catch me at twitch.tv/little_foxy. We will be back next week for more Awooters Does D&D, where I will inevitably not scar people because I'm so good at not scarring people, and nobody here has ever been scarred, and this is a very happy campaign, and we're all having a good time.
I have sustained
Oh,
so
we're
many
having a
physical
good
scars in this campaign. I have been
Well,
stabbed so many times.
You have actually been stabbed so many times, but you know what? I will continue to do that. So I'm not sorry. I'll see you guys next time. We're gonna raid. Speaking of the underscore man himself, we're gonna raid Ross underscore the underscore bear, who is currently playing some Final Fantasy. Does anybody have anything they would like to say to the stream before we leave? Closing thought,
Help.
if you will.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Save us.
You're all amazing.
Goodbye.
Help.
Did you just say help? I'm gonna need you to not make people think that I'm killing. Oh God, we're still live. Oh God. Oh no, people are gonna know. People are gonna know.
People are gonna know.
Quick,
What do you mean?
M,
It's
say
not
the
true,
line.
right?
Oh my god, that was so crazy.
Okay, bye.